And as the D-Day for the union budget approaches, one state that is in focus is Andhra Pradesh. The Telugu Desam party, which is the ruling party in Andhra Pradesh, is a key ally of the NDA. And the state has historically been at a disadvantage ever since the bifurcation of united Andhra Pradesh into Telangana and Andhra 10 years ago. Now, while Telangana got the cash cow of Hyderabad, Andhra has witnessed substantial hurdles in getting its economy back on track. And joining me now to discuss what Andhra Pradesh industry wants is Mr. Mandava Prabhakar Rao. Mr. Rao is the chair of FICCI's Andhra Pradesh State Council. He is also the chairman of the NSL Group. Mr. Rao, thank you very much for joining us on NDTV Profit. And as you know, everyone's talking about the budget right now. It's right around the corner. And Andhra Pradesh industry, I'm sure, would have specific asks of the finance minister. So could you tell us what exactly Andhra Pradesh's industry needs?
Andhra Pradesh, as you rightly mentioned during your introduction, we are left with very little of the IT industry, which is the major contributor for the combined state of Andhra Pradesh earlier. So I think we are in the process of rebuilding the state. The prime focus of the state now is on renewable power and, of course, agri-processing industry. Besides leveraging on the advantage of the port system and the existing national highway network, which is further getting strengthened. The government, I think, is well focused on quickly developing the Polavaram project, which will make a big difference in creating additional irrigation areas for the state, as well as building the capital, which can also attract the service sector to come into the state of Andhra Pradesh. So this is the primary focus. Therefore, in the budget, I think the state would expect substantial capital allocation for the Polavaram project, as well as for the Amaravati, building of the Amaravati capital. And a lot of announcements are happening on the green energy and renewable initiatives. The state has already announced a very good policy for creating manufacturing capacity for the solar panels as well as wind turbines. I think the state has to attract investments in these areas because we are endowed with excellent areas in Rayalaseema, which are congenial for setting up these capacities.
So you're saying renewables and, Polavaram project, of course, renewables and also agriculture-based industries. That's something I wanted to ask you about because 60 to 62% of the state is dependent on agriculture and allied industries. So do you have any specific demands from the budget for this?
Yeah, I think the state has done tremendously well. It's a role model for the country in many important initiatives. So with little more change in the direction and acceleration in some of the areas, we can do far better. Aquaculture is a big success story. The state leads the whole country as the major exporter of the shrimp and fish for the rest of the country. Most of the fish goes from Andhra Pradesh. Now there is a huge opportunity. The government of India is worried about the increasing edible oil imports into the country. And Andhra Pradesh is one state which can meet a large part of the edible oil demand if the government of India focuses more on encouraging the oil palm. There is already various schemes available for encouragement of oil palm. Oil palm needs a lot of irrigation, and the Polavaram project can perhaps add to the availability of irrigated area and thereby expand the oil palm cultivation. The whole world is getting palm oil supplies from countries like Malaysia and Indonesia. So Andhra Pradesh itself can perhaps meet the significant part of the demand if it is encouraged, if this infrastructure of irrigation gets created. Okay, so these areas, I think, can further expand in the future, both the edible oils as well as aquaculture. These two areas, I think, they can do very well. The third area, which is also very important for the national agriculture, is the seed. The
I was
state
just going to ask you that because you also are in the business of, in the seeds business. Tell us, what are the specific demands of this particular sector?
Yeah, the seed, Andhra Pradesh has contributed substantially for the growth of the seed industry in the country. Even today, the ethanol is a big story now. Ethanol, almost about 40% of the ethanol is now coming from maize. And the entire maize seed gets produced in Andhra Pradesh. So this is the contribution of the state. And besides maize seeds, the state also can produce other important seeds. And the government is now looking at bringing seed hubs in the state. And this will further strengthen the seed industry in the state. And this can contribute to overall towards the national agricultural growth also.
All right. Now, I'm going to ask you a question about, related to the agriculture sector. Now, every farmer you talk to in Andhra Pradesh is saying that, they don't have their next generation, they don't want to do agriculture. They're moving away from agriculture. They want to work in, the services industries, perhaps. So, how do you balance this with an agriculture-related economy? And how do you provide jobs for people who want to be in the services sector? What needs to be done and what help can the center give Andhra Pradesh in this particular aspect?
I think I will first explain some of the opportunities. You are right that the youth is not so attracted by agriculture because, the incomes that can be generated are not as high as the incomes that can come from the real estate sector, which attracts a lot of youth, the industry, or the service sector. So these areas are attracting the youth and they're going to faraway places in search of jobs in these areas. So agriculture, provided we are able to enhance the income in agriculture by improving the crop productivity, by moving towards high-value crops. So Andhra Pradesh is endowed with so many ports, starting from Srikakulam all the way up to Nellore. We have so many ports which are already existing and many ports which are going to come, which are already planned. So this can enable us to focus on value-added products from agriculture, fresh fruits, vegetables, etc., etc. So a lot of infrastructure needs to be built. The cold chains need to be built so that this we can leverage on these advantages. Even rice, there is a need to move towards high-value rice, for which there is a lot of demand all over the world. If this value creation happens, the youth also can come and work in agriculture, along with mechanization and technology. A lot of technology is going to come in agriculture in the future. Agriculture will not involve so much of drudgery that is there now. The moment we make it easier to practice agriculture and more profitable in terms of value creation, then I think youth can also come into agriculture. Towards this direction, I think some of the anomalies that are there in the taxation, for example, GST, there are some items, some services which are given for the seed industry. Similarly, for agriculture also, there is no clarity. So there is a need to bring this clarity so that these services do not attract GST. Whatever services go towards agriculture, they should not attract GST. So this change, I think, is required to be done in this budget.
Your industry requires a relook at the GST slabs. All right, I take that point. Now, let me come to MSMEs. Is there a need to encourage MSMEs in Andhra? What is the situation in that sector?
Yeah, MSMEs, like the government of India already has recognized the importance of MSMEs, and they are the foundation for creation of the industrial and manufacturing activity. So Andhra Pradesh is endowed with a big number of MSMEs, but unfortunately, in the structural changes that happened over the past 10, 15 years, many of them have lost out and they are not in a very good shape. I think in the last 5 years, in the budgets, we have been regularly seeing emphasis in encouraging MSMEs, making credit available to them. And these kind of measures have been bringing back some of these MSMEs which became sick some time ago into action. The same trend should continue in this budget and in the future budgets also, so that more and more encouragements are given to the MSMEs in the form of availability of credit, unlocking of the cash flows, which usually gets blocked by the larger corporates to which they service. And special concessions in terms of GST, etc., I think would make them survive and thrive in the future.
I think that's across the board for MSMEs across the country. Now, specifically, Andhra Pradesh is famous for weaving, and especially, Mangalagiri and Dharmavaram saris, they are on every woman's wish list, and I can vouch for that. So, what needs to be done? Are there any specific demands from this sector?
Handloom sector has been, I think, even though there is a demand from the young and old for the handloom fabrics, but unfortunately, the lot of initiatives which already which have taken place in the past by the government, both by the state government and central government, they are not resulted into a thriving growth of the handloom sectors, except a very limited areas. I think Andhra Pradesh, as you rightly mentioned, is full of skill. Handloom skills are plenty, starting from Srikakulam all the way up to Anantapur, and Dharmavaram is a part of Anantapur, and Chittur. All these places, we have, every district has got some speciality in handlooms. I think the important support that the handloom sector requires is in the form of design, capability of enhancing the designs, and also the capability of supplying raw materials, and more importantly, the market reach. If we are able to connect to the market, I think that will create the market for the handloom weavers, and therefore they will start getting encouragement and getting income also.
All right.
So although not only in India, even outside India, I think this can be taken to the consumer.
Absolutely, and I think you've pretty much highlighted what weavers in Dharmavaram had also told me when I had visited sometime 2 years ago, that they needed to reach export markets, they needed to reach larger markets in order for their saris to survive. So, so thank you very much, Mr. Rao, and it's just a few days to the budget, and let's see what the finance minister has in store for Andhra Pradesh, and I hope it's a good surprise. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Sandhya. Namaskar.
The Telugu Desam Party is an important ally in the NDA, and the state of Andhra Pradesh, of course, has very specific asks. Now, Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu has the difficult task of rebuilding the Andhra Pradesh economy and retrieving the state from the economic mess created during the bifurcation of the state into Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. The BJP has openly acknowledged that Andhra Pradesh is in need of funds to complete important infrastructure projects, which are long pending, like the new capital city Amaravati and the Polavaram lift irrigation project. Now, we're a few weeks away from Budget 2025, so let's bring in an expert voice from the state who can tell us what Andhra wants. I'm now joined by Rajiv Krishna. He's a former advisor to the Chief Minister of the state. Now, thank you very much, Mr. Krishna, for joining us. My first question to you, 15,000 crore rupees in a loan by the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank, of course, with some funding thrown in by the centre. Is this enough for Amaravati, and what is the Andhra Pradesh government going to ask from the centre this time in the budget?
Sandhya, first of all, happy Sankranti to all your viewers. Sankranti is a big festival in Andhra Pradesh. We're all celebrating here.
Thank you very much, and a very happy Sankranti to you as well.
Thank you, thank you. So, as you correctly pointed out, there are 3 or 4 priorities which our Honorable Chief Minister, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, has clearly outlined over the last 6 months. One is the rebuilding and finishing of Amaravati as a capital. 2 is Polavaram project, which is a lifeline to farmers all over the Andhra Pradesh state. The 3rd thing is Mr. Lokesh's promise during his Padayatra, which was 20 lakh new jobs for our youth. So that involves bringing in a lot of industries, investments, and things like that. So we are very focused on these 3 activities as our primary priorities. And very fortunately, we are part of the NDA alliance. We are part of the government at the center, along with the state. We are very hopeful that the central government budget will address all these things. So far, Mr. Narendra Modi, our Honorable Prime Minister, has been very supportive. He is also very development-oriented Prime Minister. And building of Amaravati is not only a good thing for our Andhra Pradesh state, but it's a great thing for our country because, as you know, all countries in their development phase, there's a huge urbanization that happens, and Amaravati will be a great step towards urbanizing the country. So all this is very good. So I think we are obviously hopeful that the central government will allocate good funds and support us fully in this. And so far, their actions are in that direction. So we are obviously very optimistic on all these fronts.
Is there a specific number you can put to that when you talk about support for Amaravati?
I think it's premature to actually talk about specific numbers. I mean, obviously it's a national budget. The Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Finance Minister of Government of India have the final prerogative. We are obviously going to give our requests as to what we would like for Andhra Pradesh state. But at the end of the day, I think more than the specific numbers at this stage, they are very supportive overall for the development of the state. Whether it's grant in aid, whether it is budget allocation, whether it is budgetary support for taking multilateral development agency loans like the new loan that you spoke about. So all in all, we are receiving very good support, and I'm very optimistic that we'll continue to receive that support from the government of India.
All right, optimistic about it, receiving support, fair enough. You spoke about 20 lakh jobs, and this is the IT Minister Nara Lokesh's promise to the people of Andhra Pradesh, as you said. Now, Andhra Pradesh's economy is 60% based on agriculture and allied industries. So, what kind of, investments are you going to need? Are you planning to create more agro-based industries? Or what exactly is the ask as far as the budget is concerned in terms of generating employment?
See, I think, first of all, Andhra Pradesh is blessed with very skilled manpower and population. So whether it is agro-based industries, coastal port-based industries, or even manufacturing in all kinds of sectors, right? So I think there is no specific limitation for us. For example, I'll just give you a few examples. Just 3 days ago, we have finalized an agreement with a very big Japanese company for setting up a semiconductor-related manufacturing unit with 14,000 crores in the Oracle Industrial Park in Kurnool district. The central government has obviously supported us a lot. The Oracle Industrial Node in Kurnool, the Koparthi Industrial Node, the Vizag, Chennai Industrial Corridor, all these things have received a lot of support. The new Krishnapatnam Industrial City, which is the KRIS city that is coming up. Mr. Chandrababu Naidu recently announced a slew of measures to build up the KRIS industrial city around the Krishnapatnam port. So all these things definitely have a state government budget element, have a central government budget element, and it is imperative. I think it's Mr. Lokesh's dream and his primary objective to get these 20 lakh new jobs, private sector jobs, by the way, not only government jobs, private sector jobs in place by the end of these 5 years. We're making very good progress. A lot of new investments have started to flow in. After Mr. Chandrababu Naidu has been sworn in as the chief minister, there's a renewed optimism in the state from investors, from industrialists. So we're very happy. As you know, the central government recently announced the signing of the BPCL refinery petrochemical complex project, which is one of the huge projects that are coming up. That obviously is a big support from Government of India. The North Coastal Railway Zone, which has been a bifurcation promise that was recently fulfilled after a lot of follow-up by Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, Mr. Lokesh, and Mr. Pawan Kalyan. So I think all in all, we are receiving good support, and we are very optimistic that we will definitely fulfill this 20 lakh jobs goal set by Mr. Lokesh for all of us.
When you're talking about a lot of support from the state government, Rajiv Krishna Garu, there has been no specific mention in terms of funding the Polavaram project in the last budget. So what have you asked for this time around, and what kind of financial support do you need?
See, Polavaram project specifically is 100% funded by the government of India, as you very well know. It's implemented by the state government, but funded by the government of India. So in that sense, the works are going on in full speed right now, and whatever the regular allocation for Polavaram project is to finish the project in time. We have put a deadline, I think, of 2027, I think, if I remember correctly, subject to correction, to finish the project. I think we are very optimistic that we will receive all the budgetary support and the financial allocations to get that done. That shouldn't be a problem.
Well, that's good to hear. But good luck. I hope the state of Andhra Pradesh does indeed get all the funding that it wants and needs and deserves. Thank you very much, Mr. Krishna, for being a part of NDTV Profit's budget program.
Thank you very much. Thank you.